In the middle of the 20th century, the telephones started ringing all across America as rumors of my existence started circulating. Even in those dim and distant days, I could hear the insect buzz of a million conversations from California to Metropolis and back again. An entire continent was waking up to realize that their lives were soon to change forever.
Lois Lane. Luther. Lois Luther. Don't be such a jerk, Chief. It's 6 a.m. and some of us have social lives. No, we haven't heard the radio. What's happened?
Who knows, sweetheart? Because Washington just called and promised us the story of the century. What's the inside scoop? Well, between you and me, kid, rumor has it the Soviets just developed a brand new kind of superweapon.
My fellow Americans, the Soviet authorities released to the world secret government pictures of a costumed individual more effective than our hydrogen bomb. An alien Superman committed to communist ideals whose very existence threatens to alter our position as a world superpower forever.
Great Caesar's ghost. Superman spotted in Denver. Superman sighted in Nebraska. Superman seen hovering over a field in Arkansas. What the hell's going on here, Lois? It's like the whole damn country seeing red capes under their beds.
Pentagon just confirmed 3 more superpowers, Chief. Strength, speed, and flight. Receptionist also added super breath when I offered her $20.
Super breath? What in God's name is super breath? Is everybody on this planet going nuts?
That's absolutely correct, sir. I was just coming off duty when I saw a human-shaped figure zip past me, and then I heard laughing up there in the clouds. Rumor has it his bosses back in Moscow are pushing for a full-blown invasion in a matter of weeks now.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman! Strange visitor from another world, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, as the champion of the common worker, fights a never-ending battle for Stalin, socialism, and the international expansion of the Warsaw Pact. Superman, pride of the Soviet state, symbol of our military might.
Give me a break. Who writes this stuff?
Let our enemies beware. There is only one superpower now.
The Feds, the Army, and the CIA are all officially obsolete, boys and girls. Call STAR Labs and get me Dr. Lex Luthor on the phone. The Cold War just evolved into a whole new animal.
Board 11, knight to f7, checkmate. Board 12, rook to b3, checkmate. Board 14, queen to f4, checkmate. One moment, young man, just let me switch off this portable tape recorder I designed in the washroom this morning. I'm teaching myself Urdu to keep my mind busy while I'm reading and playing chess with the monkeys. I assume you're Agent James Olsen, of course? You had an appointment, Agent Olsen. Please, step into my lab and let me show you where I am with this anti-Superman deterrent you're paying such ludicrous amounts of money for.
Holy smokes. Well, this is even worse than I thought. When are you actually going to start working on this thing, Doctor? Because it doesn't look like you've done a thing in 3 damn months.
Here, just tell the President that he can use this formula I scribbled together to balance the federal budget. If he leaves me alone, I'll give him a permanent cure for inflation, too.
What? You balanced the budget just like that?
No. I gave him the formula to balance the budget, young man. The Treasury will have to punch in the numbers. Solving problems is just like eating or breathing for me. And this Superman you're all so worried about is just another problem. Rest assured, I'll be in touch when I've cracked it.
Why is the volume turned down so low, honey? It's a quiz show. You love quiz shows.
I'm teaching myself how to lip read, Lois. It only just occurred to me this afternoon that I didn't know how. You can turn it back up again if it's bothering you.
What bothers me is talking to someone between chess moves. Don't tell me. Another computer system you designed on the way home from work?
I can't help it, darling. People are just too easy to beat. Is that the first edition of the morning paper?
Only technically. Russia winning the Cold War, Russia winning the space race. Stalin's Russian Superman is watching your every move from the skies. I feel like we've been printing the same depressing story for months now.
Daily Planet, Sputnik, Metropolis, Superman, Space Race, Sputnik, Globe, Metropolis. Good grief! How could I have been such an idiot? This is Lex Luthor, STAR, clearance code 1350 Bravo. I want to speak to the President, and I don't care if he's in a meeting. This is indescribably more important, young lady.
What's going on, Lex? What's happened? Have you figured out a way to beat Superman or something?
I'm sorry, darling, but I'm afraid that is official government information on a need-to-know capacity now. Ike, Lex here, sir. I need 100 technicians, $10 million, and permission to crash a Soviet satellite in a highly populated area. Of course, you can think for a minute.
I had made quite an impression in the 14 weeks since I made my journey from the farmlands to Moscow. Some still thought me a trick of the light or an urban myth, but each new day saw another super feat or some death-defying rescue. In my more introspective moments, I even wondered if the people were behaving more carelessly in the hope that they might catch a glimpse of their gaudy circus clown.
Comrade Secretary, this is a priority alert. We have lost control of Sputnik 2 and the satellite is plummeting towards Earth's atmosphere.
The Americans. They must have sabotaged us. How else could a satellite just change course like that?
Flight trajectory looks like it's heading for a populated area somewhere in the upper hemisphere, sir. North of Peru, north of Cuba. Oh my God! It's coming down in America!
They called me a soldier, but that just wasn't true. I was never a soldier. Soldiers always follow orders. A soldier knows and hates his enemy. A soldier only fights and dies for his own people. I just fought for what was right. Sputnik 2 weighed 5,000 pounds. This mass multiplied by an acceleration factor of 100 meters per second would have delivered a force powerful enough to level the entire city. In hindsight, I could have vaporized it with my heat vision, slowed its descent with my super breath, or even atomized the craft with a calculated blow. Instead, I chose the most exciting action. The powers were still new to me then, you understand. Exactly 3 seconds after hitting the roof of the newspaper office, I realized the damage done to the building's suspension. A cluster of support cables groaned and snapped. People below screamed for someone to save them, not my people. But I never refuse a cry for help. All the lies they spread about me, the propaganda they engineered at the height of the Cold War, none of it mattered for a while on that bright afternoon. Just for a single moment, they realized I was here to save them.
Oh my God.
6 million lives spared, and an incident that might have sparked a war averted. And my most potent memory of that day was 5.5 feet tall and wearing Chanel number 5. She felt it too. I know she did. But neither of us could act on this impulse. Not while she had a gold ring on her third finger and a creased photograph of a somber, red-headed scientist in her purse. Centuries later, after 1,000 interpretations of this meeting, a famous poet would write an alternate history of the world, where Lois Luthor and I became lovers. His story would go on to win the Pulitzer Prize and become the biggest selling fictional book of all time. Even now, I still don't know what appeals to people about this notion, what chord it struck with the public imagination. And I don't suppose we ever will in this lifetime.
Magnificent, isn't he? Absolutely magnificent. I knew these random acts of heroism wouldn't be confined to the parameters of Mother Russia.
What made you so sure he'd actually be able to save us, Dr. Luthor?
Mathematics, Olson. Pure mathematics. Now, make sure they raise that satellite from the water precisely as I described. The information he left on that hull is essential, especially if our dear friend in the White House expects me to build him a Superman of our own.
Weeks pass, and 1,000 rescues later, they decided to throw a welcome parade for me. I can remember every single silly detail of that day in Red Square. Every face in the crowd, every pimple on every face of every cheering worker. Their poor, confused expressions at this champion from the farmlands, who couldn't stand still for more than 10 seconds at a time.
Don't tell me there's another emergency, Superman.
A chemical plant on fire, 3,000 miles west of Vladivostok. Just give me 10 or 15 minutes.
He's got the attention span of a spastic 2-year-old, hasn't he? Imagine not even being able to sit through your own damn parade.
Well, what's he supposed to do, Captain? Stand there and grin like an idiot when he can hear people screaming for their lives?
How could you bring this alien from the Ukraine into our inner circle to this degree?
Because they love him, my boy. He was raised to believe in everything I stand for, and he makes Russia feel as indestructible as he is.
But I'm the one you've been grooming for the top. I've been preparing for this since I was 8 years old. If Superman succeeds you, he could be there for 1,000,000 years for all we know.
Who cares if he succeeds me? You made chief of the NKVD by 25, Peter.
So what are you saying? That it all ends here? That I've peaked before I'm 30?
No, I'm saying you should watch your tongue and remember who you're speaking to. My jealous little captain. Bear in mind you're only one of a number of illegitimate children I have out there, you know.
What's wrong, Superman? You look so sad.
I hope this isn't anything to do with my terrible Russian.
It's just this whole Superman Day fuss. Parties and parades. It just aren't really me.
Oh, I know what you mean. There's always something being held in my honor back on Paradise Island, too.
I hope tonight isn't too boring for you.
Great, Hera, no! Not in the slightest. I'm actually having a wonderful time. I mean, think about it. How often do I get to meet someone like me?
I see someone's enjoying herself, eh?
Oh, Superman's really nice, Mother. You should talk to him. He's really not like the other men at all. You know, he seems a few inches taller.
That Diana would make a fine wife when she makes her voyage to the man's world, Superman. Just imagine what kind of children you could raise, eh?
I'd prefer to choose my own wife, Comrade Stalin. Besides, this notion you have that I'd ever want to lead the party is really quite a misconception. I'm scanning Moscow for your chief of police, sir. I noticed he isn't at the party, and I just wanted to make sure he's okay. There's no sign of him anywhere.
Oh, for God's sake. Who cares about Peter Roslov?
I care about everybody, sir. Ah, there he is. You'll have to excuse me for a moment, comrade. Catch.
What are you doing here, Superman?
You weren't at the party, and I just wondered what happened to you, Peter. You've been acting quite irrational lately, and I'm genuinely concerned.
What are you talking about, you idiot? You don't even know me. And would you please stop fixing things? You're driving me out of my mind.
I only fix things that are broken, Peter. Now please, take a seat. Let's just sit down and talk about whatever's getting you so upset here.
You mean besides the total stranger meddling in my affairs? Believe me, Superman. You're the last guy I can talk about my problems with.
He didn't actually invite you to the party, did he?
No. Because all Comrade Stalin wants to do now is show off his indestructible man of steel, my friend. The rest of us can go to hell.
This doesn't have to be a competition.
That's easy for you to say, when you're streaking through the skies, Superman. Not so much fun when you're down here working in the gutters like the rest of us.